Hello everyone, Salty here, and you are watching the Average Joe's 1v1 tournament. This is the Canadian versus Xandixs, and this is just your standard 1v1 tournament. Dun dun dun. I do want to give a quick shout out to Max Viren for hosting this tournament. Thanks for that. There will be a link on the bottom in the comments section to go to the website for this tournament, and you can take a look at some stuff there. And I was in this tourney at the very beginning, but unfortunately the Canadian knocked me out, so hopefully he wins this for me. Canadian fighting! And, you know, then I wouldn't feel like such a scrub. But, you know, real standard stuff for both players right now. We'll probably see a scout. There's Red Scout going out right now, and just put his first pylon down. And, Canadian actually looking to start a wall off at this ramp. Other than that, nothing else really happening on the map right now. Making probes and SCVs. If you don't know how to do that yet, you should probably quit StarCraft. And let's see, first supply depot going down. We'll probably see a gateway fairly soon from Xandixs here. And this is Scrap Station, I believe. If you look at this map, there is a huge run distance from one base to the other, but a very short air distance here. You can almost see the two bases. And we do have a little bit of probe harassment going on here. A couple of SCVs and probes dueling it out. Nice little micro there, trying to keep them alive. You can actually watch these probes, their shields regenerate extremely fast compared to other workers. And even stealing the gas here. I'm not sure how much this is going to affect the game, because the last few games I've seen Canadian in, he actually goes with this nice big fat bio ball of Marines and Marauders, and it doesn't take too much gas, so I'm not sure this will hurt him early on. Meanwhile, got our first gateway going down for Xandixs, still making great use of that chrono boost and an early assimilator. We'll see how that plays out, I guess. Meanwhile, both SCVs and probes all over the map slapping each other, keeping it interesting. And yeah, Canadian is definitely going to wall off here. Not necessarily needed against a Protoss player, because they're not going to be throwing Zerglings at your base. But if you want to stop any kind of Zealot rush, it's a really easy way to hold that off. Walling off against Protoss isn't necessarily bad as long as you have a nice big gap in here. And with these two supply depots right next to each other, it's going to be fairly easy to drop these down and get a pretty large, significant army still out of there. Meanwhile, I think this SCV actually got trapped. Nope. Just barely got out of there. Cybernetics Core just finishing. Got a fairly second early gateway here from Xandixs. I'm not sure if it's needed quite yet. Might have wanted to put out some extra probes at this point. But yeah, not going to hurt too much. As long as you're making something out of it once it finishes. And there's the chrono boosted warp gate. Classic stuff. So 4-gate push here. It looks like no Robo Bay yet, so not going to be able to scout Terran quite as easily as you might have hoped. And Marauders coming out for the Canadian over here. Still hasn't taken out that assimilator, so he's getting a little bit of scouting at the base, but everything's being built down here at the wall. And I like putting SCVs on Xel'Naga watchtowers, giving sight and an early little bit of scout there for any kind of harassment. If you see Zealots right here, you have plenty of time to react before they can make it all the way back up to your base. And so these Marauders are taking out this assimilator, and I believe we saw a Robo facility. Yep, there is a Robo facility being warped in as we speak. And that warp gate is just about to finish. So both players macroing pretty hard here, no early harass going on. Second barracks going down for Canadian, and I'm not sure how well Xandixs is going to be able to actually hold 4 warp gates and a Robo facility and actually produce out of all 5 of these production buildings off one base. I like spreading the pylons out. Always nice to put a couple pylons over here, up here, so that you can scout any kind of incoming air harass. And still real standard stuff from both players with not a lot of scouting going on. I mean, Canadian bouncing all over his base here, trying to get some scouting done, and really both players, all they can see is their base. Neither one is able to scout, and we'll see what happens. Warp Prism being called in from this Robo facility. Usually against Terran, you see a real fast observer chrono boosted out, so you can get behind this wall off and get some really important scouting done. Still no engineering bay from Canadian, and with a really heavy army like this, I would have expected to see one real soon. Maybe over here somewhere hidden where you can tech and not give away the fact that you're doing this real heavy infantry build, and a reactor coming down. So technically he's running off 3 racks at the moment. Might see a building swap here, I really doubt it. Not really much of a reason to do double Hellion against Protoss. And here is this Warp Prism coming in for a harass, it looks like. Had a probe on it, dropped him off up at the north. And Zealots being dropped off right behind the mineral line there. Are they going to make it to the workers? Yeah, they might take out a couple. 1 worker taken out. Ooh, yeah, Canadian fends that off perfectly. Only 1 worker for the cost of 1 Zealot, so that's basically a 50 mineral loss there. This poor Warp Prism is going to have to run back. A Twilight Council would have made that extremely effective, being able to just come in here with that Warp Prism and not even do a drop-off, but drop that little mini pylon and warp in a few Zealots and charge in here. Could have done an extremely high amount of harass damage. But looks like he is going to fall back for now. We have 2 Stargates coming in. Again, off of 1 base, it's extremely hard to keep up an economy like that. Chrono boost is getting a little high. Would have really liked to see this Immortal being chrono boosted out, and still going for this massive